What's up, everybody? Welcome to Electrician's Masterclass, where knowledge is power. Um, I'm a virtual New Jersey electrical license prep course instructor, and you can find me at electriciansmasterclass.com. So tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about backstabbing outlets. All right. Since I started in the trade, um, this was never a thing that I really liked to do, okay? Because I think it's a loose connection. And when we say backstabbing, we're talking about taking the receptacle. I don't know if you could see the receptacle like this, and you're taking a wire and you're sticking it in the hole here instead of wrapping it around the screw, okay? Um, so what happens is the main danger is that the wires can easily come loose over time, especially with vibrations or movement, creating a poor connection, which can be a loose screw or backstabbed receptacle that can spark or overheat. Okay. And it also can be caused by an overloaded circuit. So as you can see over here, this is what's happening. I had a customer the other day. She had a GFI just like this, and it started to smoke like this with the gray smoke coming out of here. And what happened was she had called me because the first thing that you got to do actually is call the fire department right off the bat. So this way they can evaluate it. They can shut the breaker off if they have to, and you can go from there. And then they can call me, and then I can take care of it. But the first thing to do when you see smoke coming out of your outlet, that's the first thing you need to do is call the fire department, which the customer did, and that's the way to do it. All right. So that's what the receptacle looks like. All right. All right. So now this is actually the same thing. And as you can see, the back of the outlet see how big the holes got compared to what I showed you before on this outlet here? See how small these holes are? You see how big they got because it overheated and it even burnt the wire here. Okay. So burnt receptacle wires from the wires heating up and losing their insulation. And that's what happened here. All right. And loose connections can generate heat, potentially leading to melting of the plastic around the outlet and even electrical fires. All right. Okay. So let's go back to here. And then you could see the receptacle is completely melted from going on fire. Those loose receptacles can cause arcing, which is when electricity jumps between 2 points, creating sparks and heat, and will eventually cause a fire. All right, and that's what that looks like. What's up, Lotus? How you doing? What's up, Evan and Pat? Welcome, welcome. I don't know what your wife's name. It says Evan Pat. Does that mean that's your wife, Evan? We're talking about backstabbing the receptacles in the back here. You see where these holes are? And I'm going to show you that in a second. I'll show you what that looks like, actually. All right. So like we said, this is when it starts to really melt and overheat and arc and cause a fire. All right. So that all goes back to that you should actually, in the NEC, what it says in the NEC is 110.14. Oh, there you go. Okay. All right. So in the NEC 110.14D, it says terminal connection torque, tightening torque values for terminal connections. All right. And shall be as indicated on equipment or in installation instructions provided by the manufacturer. Okay. So a lot of electricians, I guess they don't have strong hands. I don't know. Um, because if you tight enough with your hand, it should be, you just got to make sure you get a nice shot in there. You know what I mean? But there are requirements for receptacles. All right. and there are requirements for panels, and everything will be marked on there. Okay, so that's what the code is saying, that they're marked on the manufacturer's instructions. All right. So now, if you look over here, I looked up an outlet, which is one of the Leviton tamper-proof outlets. All right. And if you look right over here, you see this right over here? It tells you about the torque range. And it says, it looks like 14 to 18 pounds, inch pounds. All right. And that will be with it, the torque screwdriver. Um, if the inspector, sometimes they require, they want to see the torque on there, with the torque driver. So they might want you to show them that. Most of the time, just make sure that you make a good connection, all right? Because when you don't have a good connection, it gets loose and it can cause a fire, all right? All right, so now that's not the only way that it can cause a fire. All right. So let me show you another way that a receptacle can cause a fire. When you have a loose receptacle blade, I know a lot of you have seen this. Um, there's when you go to put the plug in the outlet, it just drops down. All right. And this is a very old outlet that's been uh, the loose receptacle blades, the blades, the metal blades inside an electrical outlet that have become loose or worn out. All right. And this could be a fire hazard and should be addressed by your electrician. All right. So what happens is over the years and over when the outlet tends to heat up a lot, it makes it hot, and it eventually it will lose the connection with the cord. All right. So usually like, sometimes when you plug in a cord at an angle or yanking them out can bend the metal sockets, like when you pull them out really quick. All right. And I know of a lot of people have done that, you know, and then repeated use outlets are used frequently, like for charging a phone can wear out over time, or if you have a plug that's a little bit, bigger than, or it should fit the outlet, but sometimes if it's a little bit bigger, it just forces it open. And from that and the heat and the years, when it does this, yeah, you really need to change your outlets. All right. Don't avoid it because, the looser it gets like this, it starts to arc. And then what that does is it arcs, it gets hot, and it starts to go on fire. All right. So Evan said, yes, we share an account. She is here as well. From my understanding, outlets are things you plug into, right? Yeah. Yes. Um, like I said, everybody, welcome to the room. All right. Click like and subscribe. And we're here to answer your questions. All right. So this, like I said, the loose outlet. All right. Um, so let me just show you. Um, let me just get out of this for a second. I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right. So it looks like this. All right. Your outlet looks like this. All right. The back. All right. And so let's get a piece of wire and we're going to put it in the box, right? So I'm going to strip this, my stripper. Okay. And I see a lot of videos on here, and a lot of these electricians, they go around like this, okay? And then they pull it off. Not good, okay? Because what happens is when you go around like that, it makes like it could make, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Most of the time it does. But when you go around there like that, you have a chance of nicking the black wire, okay, which is big problem. All right, when you nick the black wire on the side. So when you go around like this, that's not good. All right. So what I suggest you do is let's put it in the box. All right. Okay, let's put this in the box for a second. A lot easier when it's in the wall. So I just want to show you. Um, okay. So, you want to give yourself enough wire in the box like this. You want enough sticking out. All right. So when it comes time to do what you got to do, you have the room to work with it. All right. Um, okay, yeah, a little closer. Yeah, I'm sorry. So what I'm gonna do is now I'm gonna go in here with my knife, okay, with my pocket knife here, this utility knife. All right, and we're gonna go right from the top here, and we're gonna go right down the middle. All right, we're gonna go right down the middle like this. See this? And then you could hold it as you go down. Keep your fingers in the back, okay, so you don't hit anything. And then work your way down. It's a lot easier, like I said, when it's in the wall, but I just want to show you, okay? So now what we're gonna do is pull it all the way back, all right? Okay, so I stripped down the middle. So if you're gonna nick anything, you're gonna nick the ground, and that's not really gonna be a problem, all right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna push this back like this. Then I'm gonna stick my point into the back like, I don't know if you could see it, guys. Um, a little difficult, but stick it into the back and pull it off. Okay. So now that's what we got. And then we're going to pull this off like that. And we're going to pull this paper off of here. All right. So that's what we got. You want a 1/4 inch sticking into the box, at least a 1/4 inch. Okay. So now what I do is, this would be stapled up 8 inches because it's a plastic box. All right. So what I do is they want you to have 6 inches out of the box. All right. They want you to have like, let me bring it over here. Oh, like this. Hmm, can't really see. Okay, so they want you to have 6 inches out of the box. All right, let's just say 6 inches out of the box. So you'd have 3 inches from the front of the box, okay? 6 inches from the back of the box. Okay, so what I do to make it even easier, all right, is I take my hand like this, and I put my hand up against the box. All right. And then I cut my wire like this. All right. Now, if you were to measure this, we have more than 3 inches coming out of the bottom, out of the front of the box, which is like 5 inches. Okay. And then from the back, we have about 8 inches. So you have plenty of wire to work with. Don't be making the wires like a foot long, okay, coming out of the box, because then it's harder to put back. And then that gives you the chance of shorting something out. Okay. So now we have about this much out. This is perfect for putting your outlet in. All right. So now what we're going to do, um, okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our wire stripper. All right. And we're going to put it on number 14, right? Solid. Remember how we talked the other day? Solid. and you want about 3/4 of an inch. I don't know if you could see that. 3/4 of an inch. All right. And then you just pull it. All right. You pull it right off. All right. If you look on the back of this receptacle, okay, you're going to see a stripping gauge, and that is how much you strip the cable. All right. You can see the stripping gauge. All right. It's about 3/4 of an inch. All right. I think that's a good strip. All right. Um, so now you're going to do the same thing with the white. All right. About 3/4 of an inch, and you're going to pull it. All right. Like that. Um, so now we're going to stab this thing in the back, and I'm going to show you that this is the wrong way to do things. All right. So what happens is the electricians, they want to get in and out. Okay. Especially if you're doing like a whole bunch of condo units, or if you're doing like a house and you have to put a lot of receptacles in. So they want to be in and out. It's great for a couple of years until things start to get crazy. All right. And the outlets are in there for a long time. The wires are getting hot. Okay. Sometimes you have vibrations, cars and trucks going by. All right. And from the heat and all that stuff and the years and everything. Um, so let's say we're going to put this one in here. This is what they're talking about, stabbing in the back. All right. And then you just push it in the back. You see how that went in nicely? Okay. Because it's 3/4 of an inch. All right. So let's do the hot. Okay. Now, over time, this is going to get hot. This outlet's going to get hot. It's going to loosen up and it's going to arc. All right. Um, I don't suggest you backstabbing it in the back. All right. So we want to take these out of here. All right. Because I don't think this is a good practice. Um, so what you can do is you see the back of the outlet here is there's like a little hole here above the spot where you stab it in the back. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to push this little screwdriver in here like that. And at the same time, you're going to pull it right out. Okay. Like that. Same thing with the white. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you could just spin it like this, but this happens to be gripping it right now. Good. But over years, what's going to happen is it's going to get hot from the juice going through there, especially if you decide you're going to plug into like a space heater or something. That's going to make your wire heat up. All right. Um, and that's going to make it loose. All right. So we want to get this out of here. So we got to go back in this spot here, behind here. If you can see the hole, I don't think you can see the hole. All right. Right above it. You're going to push it in. You're going to pull it out. See how easy that was? But you have to have a skinny screwdriver. All right. Sometimes, if the hole is loose enough from all the years, you should be able to just wiggle the receptacle and it comes right off. All right. But what I'm trying to say is, what's the difference, stab versus back wire? Well, back wire, is like a stab versus back wire. Well, back wire usually is like has a tab, some receptacles, and you stick it under the tab. That's a little bit more tighter than if you were to stab it in the back. All right. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we got our wire here, okay, and we're gonna put all three of them on here. So just so we got the ground going too. So like I said, you can take the end of your wire, not the middle, when you make a hook. Remember we talked the other night? So you're gonna do the middle of the end of the wire, and you're gonna make a hook like this. All right, just like that. And then you're gonna do the same thing with the black. You're gonna go on the end, the corner of your pliers, all right, and you're gonna bend it. All right. Same thing with your ground. You're gonna go on the end, and you're going to bend it. All right. So now we want to go around our outlet. And remember, I told you to go around the screw in the direction of the screw like this. Okay. So here's the direction of the screw. All right. You see it going around the outlet and it's going clockwise. That's what you want. All right. So now we're going to tighten that just like that. Sometimes you'll have two wires in the box. You'll have to make a splice. Sometimes you'll have to make a splice. Sometimes you're just going to go on all four screws, but you're definitely going to have to splice the grounds together. All right. But in this case, we have one wire coming in the box and we're just going to make it nice and tight like that. All right. That's not going nowhere. It's not going to go probably till they knock the house down. That's the kind of work that you have to do. That's the kind of work that you have to plan. That it'll last till they knock the house down. You know what I mean? All right. So, like we said, the silver screw. All right. You might have heard this 1,000 times, but I'm going to tell you anyway. All right. So, the silver screw gets the white. Okay. So we're going to go on the bottom. We're going to go in the direction of the screw. You see how it's going in the direction of the screw. Hold it with your hand if you have to. Hold it with your finger. Always make sure the circuit is off, especially if you're a homeowner and you're not comfortable working with electricity. Shut the power off. All right. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go in the direction of the screw again. See, I'm going in the direction of the screw, nice and tight. What's the difference? Okay, overheard my husband talking about backstabbing an outlet. He was upset about it. He asked me to ask if how to fix it. Um, how can we remove it? So we just talked about that, and I was telling you about you stick the screwdriver in the little slots of the receptacle. You see right below the backstabbing hole is a little slot. Let me see. Okay, right over here. See, that's where you stick the screwdriver in, and it's like a little blade that, it bends, and bends it down so you can pull it out. All right. Okay. Um, so now also, let me just see. We'll take, I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. Let me just stop sharing. Okay. All right. Okay. That's better, right? Okay, so now I'm sorry. Okay, I made it bigger. The only reason I was doing that because I was showing you the pictures of the receptacles and stuff like that. So now what we're gonna do, like I said, this is the back. You can see it better, all right? And you can see the back stabbing holes where it normally go into, all right? Um, which I don't, if you're a good electrician, you're not gonna backstab. That's bottom line, all right? Um, so this is where you would stick your screwdriver in here. You see this part right here? It's right next to the hole. All right. All right. So that's the white wire. You got the white wire in there. And like I said, remember what I said before, um, is tighten the screw that you're not going to use. If you only have one wire coming in, tighten the screw that you're not going to use because this way the ground wire doesn't go up against that, even though it's neutral or black. You don't want them touching. All right. So now we're going to do the other opposite side. And we're going to also go around the screw in the direction of the screw. So we got to turn the hook this way. Okay. So that's going around the screw in the direction of the screw. Okay. Let me see if I can show you better. All right. So right there. See, it's going in clockwise like this. And then what you're going to do is you're going to tighten that nice and tight. All right. A lot of electricians, what they do also, um, to try to get in and out real quick, they try to use a screw gun. I've done it before when I was younger and I was just learning in the trade. Um, but it's not a good practice because what happens is the torque on the screwdriver, the screw gun, the torque on the screw gun is it's too fast. And what it does is it strips the screw out. And you don't want that happening because you're going to have problems later on down the line, or it's going to break the receptacle. And then you're not going to know that it's broke, and it's going to be arcing in somebody's device box. And then there you go, you got a fire. So the best thing to do is hand tighten it. All right. And like I said, if you're not going to use the screw, make sure that you tighten it. All right. And then, like we said before, hey, what's up, Sparks? How you doing? Yeah, we're teaching how to secure an outlet as far as the wires go on the side, um, as far as the wires go around the screw. All right. I'm not a big, I don't believe in backstabbing. A lot of electricians, good electricians, are not going to backstab. All right. Um, you could still move fast and wrap it around a screw. You don't have to be stabbing in the back, and just running. Because later on down the line, it might not do anything at first, but later on down the line, it's a problem. All right. And I showed you the pictures of the outlet, and it's not a good look when they're all melted and the thing is going on fire. All right. Um, Okay. So yes, any kind of loose outlet is a hazard. Um, Loose blades in a receptacle, like we talked about, the inside blades over time will get loose, all right, from the heat and from sticking something in and out of it. All right. So replace the outlet. All right. Um, don't be one of those people who say, okay, yeah, it's been like that for years. Why should I change it now? But when it starts to spark, and it lights your Christmas tree on fire, all right, or anything else that's in the way that's flammable, then you're going to have a problem. All right. Um, so also with this, I don't have it with me, but tape, wrap tape around it. Okay. It keeps it away from all the other connections, and there's no way of it shorting out when you go to put it in the box and you're not paying attention. You know what I mean? All right. So what you're going to do is you're just going to take it and you're going to bend it in the box and you're gonna put her in just like that. All right. So that's the proper way to put in a receptacle. All right. Um, so if there's any questions, let me know and I'll be happy to answer you. All right. Um, okay. Everybody, thanks for coming to the room. All right. We're talking about backstabbing outlets and how it's a hazard over time. All right. If you can, this is Electrician's Masterclass. If you can, click like and subscribe to the channel because we have a lot of good stuff coming up. Um, should the outlets are going to get inspected, but most likely the inspector is not going to really see anything unless you put it on the wrong side of the screw. And he reads it with his meter and it says reverse polarity. Um, he's not going to catch that. You know what I mean? If somebody decides they didn't tighten something tight, or so many times I see people and uh they wrap the hook around the wrong way. And that, like I said, if it's not going in the direction of the screw, when you go to the direction of the screw, it's tightening the connection. It's wrapping that wire around the screw. All right. So if you don't do that, it's just going to it's going to keep it loose, you know, and it's going to the point where it's going to cause a fire. All right. Especially, like I said, with the backstabbing. Okay. So let me just, how do you know if it gets loose? You'll see a light start to flicker. okay? Or you'll see like your lamp start to flicker, all right? And then that could be a loose connection. It could be a loose outlet. A lot of times it's a loose outlet. And once you find that loose outlet, you'll see that everything comes back on. But you don't want to get to that point because um, I know you can't just find yourself a good electrician, all right? Because there are good ones out there and there are really bad ones, all right? As far as I can see. Um, but he's gonna inspect, like just the basic wiring, you know. He's probably not gonna catch the connection on the outlet, you know. Like if I came in and I looked at the outlet and I pulled the outlet out and I had to change it for some reason, I would see that. I would see that it was loose. I would see that it falls out in my hand. The other day, that GFI I was telling you about, it was in the kitchen and it was smoking and it was gray smoke, because the wire that was on there, it wasn't stabbed in the back. It was a uh, side wired. Um, the outlet was side wired, back wired, let's say back wired, all right? It was in the clip, but it wasn't tight enough. And therefore it moved out just enough to arc on that connection. And it started to overheat the outlet. And when it started to overheat the outlet, the smoke started coming out of the outlet, that gray smoke. And luckily they were able to see the smoke because they were able to shut down the circuit. Um, and they were able to save the wiring. All right, because it could be a mess if it gets really bad, you know. So they did the right thing. All right. So Lotus says my cousin has so many loose outlets. He even has one. He talked to he tacked to the wall. Um, don't secure your extension cords like that. Don't tack anything because years ago they used to tack like extension cords like to the woodwork, to the wall. That's not good because you can't access them right away. And that, especially if you staple through it, you're gonna have a problem. All right. Um, oh, he taped his my cousin had so many loose outlets. He even had one that was taped to the wall. I don't know what that means. Um, if you're coming into the room now, this is an electrician's master class. All right. And normally what we are is a virtual New Jersey electrical license prep course instructor. All right. And we are going to talk about other things. We're going to talk about this, wiring and stuff like that, safety, and any C articles, that we can talk about. Um, I'm here to show uh, homeowners, aspiring apprentices, electricians, union and non-union, and licensed contractors, where we could all get together. We could talk about things, and you could learn from each other. All right. So everybody's welcome in the room. It was Lucy taped the outlet. Oh, you mean he taped the front of the outlet, Lotus? Is that what you're saying? When you said it was loose, was it broken, Lotus? Oh, okay. It was broken. Yeah, so you can't repair stuff like that because, like I said, it's going to continue to arc. It's going to get hot. It's going to go on fire. All right. And we talked about what arcing is when the electricity jumps between the 2 points, creating sparks and heat, which eventually will cause a fire. All right. Um, okay. Oh, it was loose, so he taped it instead of screwing it to the box. Is that what you're saying? Hmm. Can you test the outlet at home to see if it's loose? Well, the thing is that depends how comfortable you feel with electricity. All right. Um, I mean, if you take it out of the wall and and you don't want to shut, if you don't decide to shut the circuit off, if you're all right working around electricity, as long as you don't ground yourself. Remember we talked about that. If you wiggle it, you can see maybe if it's loose or not, or you could look in the back. Um, like this outlet, when I took this outlet out the other day, you could smell that there was a problem. You could smell that it was burnt. You could smell that it was on fire, but internally, you know what I mean? Um, but yeah, you could test to see if it's loose. Just be careful when you work on electricity that you don't ground yourself. All right, that's the biggest thing. And um I would suggest if you're a homeowner or if you're not comfortable with it to shut it off. Okay. So we're pretty much talking about you're welcome, Sparks. Um, we're pretty much talking about backstabbing outlets. All right. Some people never talk about it, you know what I mean? But it is a problem. It's a big problem, especially when you go to a house and you go to troubleshoot and you find out that the rest of the circuit is not working and you're trying to figure out if it's the breaker, if it's a loose connection. And a lot of times it's a bad outlet, you know, because it's not completing the circuit because all it is pretty much in and out an outlet, that's just a connection point, well, that you're able to get power out of. Um, so if it's not making a good connection, it's not going to complete the circuit. If you can, click like and subscribe to Electrician's Masterclass. All right. Um, thanks for everybody dropping by tonight. You're welcome. We're going to be live again on Thursday night. All right. Same time at 7 o'clock. How can I prevent loose outlets in older buildings? You're welcome. All right. We'll see you soon. All right, everybody. Thanks for dropping in tonight. Um, and I'll see you on the next one.